It is mailbag time here on the Broncos Breakdown. I'm answering questions that came in during our live show, which airs every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. So make sure you tune in next Tuesday if you have a question you would like to ask. Our first one comes in via Super Chat from Michael. If Ashton Jeanty is not there at pick 20 for the Broncos, Matthew, who do you want the Broncos to draft? Michael, great question. This answer is likely going to change, but as of Tuesday, January 28th, when I'm filming this, I'm going to say my preference would be Plan A is Ashton Jeanty. Plan B is Tyler Warren. Plan C, I'm going to go with Walter Nolen, defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. And Plan D, I'll say one of two guys, whoever's available. Either Malachi Starks, Georgia safety, or Nick Emenwari, the South Carolina safety. That would be my list of 5 guys in order for who I'd like to see the Broncos draft. So I guess the real answer is, if it's not Jeanty, Warren, but I think there's a better chance Warren's not there before Genty's taken, or a better chance Warren goes before Jeanty. So then it would be Walter Nolen out of Ole Miss. David, you're on screen. Love the show, Matt. Thank you, David. Want to know what you think of DJ Giddens, the running back from K-State. I don't know a whole lot about DJ, so I've got some homework to do this weekend. But I will say that this running back draft class is stacked, like just loaded with talent and day one starting potential. Unlike last year, where we saw very little contributors from that running back class, the NFL draft just has this weird way of balancing itself out, where up and down. Great quarterback class one year, bad quarterback class the next year. The only thing that's usually consistent is receiver. It's always good, except for this year. This year, I don't think a single receiver that will end up going round 1 would have gone round 1 last year. Matt Markowski, do you think we could sign tight end Mike Gesicki and draft Ashton Jeanty? I think it's possible. Gesicki, right, just had a very good year with the Cincinnati Bengals, who are notoriously poor. So if his price starts to go up above their liking, they may have to pass because they have to pay guys like Jamar Chase, and Trey Hendrickson's going to want a new contract. I think he's going into the final year of his deal, so he'll be looking for a raise, and ultimately they may not have enough money to go around. I would not be opposed to this. I also think, though, that you're not finding a long-term answer in the draft. In free agency at tight end. So if you sign Gesicki, I'm still drafting a tight end, somewhat regardless of what I did in free agency. Mile High 420. Should the Broncos trade for Garrett Wilson? I love how everyone has just decided, all right, everyone good from the Jets is available. And the good news here is the Jets' new GM, I think he knows a few people over in Denver, so it could help facilitate a trade a little bit easier. Listen, I'd be very, very, very interested in trading for Garrett Wilson. I'm not sure how realistic it is, because why would the Jets want to move on from Wilson? I've yet to have a good answer to this question. The only answer I can come up with is because of Aaron Rodgers and Wilson not having the best chemistry. Remind me, which one's 40? Who do you think they're going to stick with for the long term here? The guy who's playing his 4th NFL season, not his 20th. I'm scratching my head to think of a real situation where the Jets move on from Garrett Wilson, other than the Jets are the Jets. And they didn't trade for Jerry Jeudy because the owner's son said his Madden rating wasn't high enough. But they got a good new GM, though. Broncos know this. So unless Woody Johnson really wants Aaron Rodgers again and mandates that whatever Rodgers wants, he gets, and if he wants Wilson out, then Denver should pick up the phone and make a call immediately. And I'd be open to trading the 20th overall pick for Garrett Wilson. I think a good little litmus test for situations like this goes like this. If Garrett Wilson, with his current age and contract, entered the draft today, where would he get picked? Knowing you've got one more year left on his rookie contract and then the 5th-year option. He ain't falling to 20. A team would take him in the top 19. So I would say you have a known commodity that the only thing you've missed out on is the first 3 years of that cheap rookie contract. I think it's okay to stomach that and give Bo Nix a true ascending number one wide receiver. Aiden, next one up. How do you feel about Russ making the Pro Bowl the first year he leaves Denver? It's a joke. And I'm not saying that from a salty standpoint. You can't even find a single Steeler fan that feels like Russell Wilson was a Pro Bowl quarterback. The NFL, the NBA, the NHL, they're so focused on trying to fix the Pro Bowl game to get viewers to watch. How about you get the best players there? Now, unfortunately for the NFL, with it coming right before the Super Bowl, historically and traditionally, the best players are never at the Pro Bowl because they're playing in the Super Bowl. But still, Drake May, Russell Wilson, that's the best the AFC could come up with? No. It's just another example as to why these games are so meaningless. Byron Lewis, safety at 20 would be a bad pick. I feel like that can be addressed in free agency. You're not wrong because safety is not a super highly coveted position in round one of the draft. But if you get the right guy, take a look at the Ravens. Kyle Hamilton, first round pick, completely turned that Baltimore defense around. Safeties are a position where if they're not elite, then you can just take an average one. Right? You don't need to pay top dollar for a really good safety. I would take an average safety and take the savings and put it elsewhere. But if you feel like Malachi Starks could be an elite safety, I don't think he's going to be a Troy Polamalu or Ed Reed, but we can see how elite safeties, they are worth a first-round pick. Very good safeties, I'm with you, Byron. No. So keep an eye on Starks, and if you land at the conclusion of that guy's elite, then okay, let's discuss. Byron, appreciate your question. Lobo, what do you think of the Broncos trading up for Travis Hunter or guaranteeing more money like they did with Aqib Talib? Start with Travis Hunter here. I don't see them finding a partner that wants to fall back to 20. That's a big tumble. The biggest tumbles off the top of my head, the Dolphins went from 3 to 12 with the Niners so that San Francisco could get Trey Lance. I can't think of a let's say Travis Hunter goes third. You're going to find someone to go from 3 to 7, fall back 17 spots from 3 to 20. Good luck. You're going to have to offer up a future first, probably 2 seconds. To me, it's not worth it. And that's not me trying to, knock on Travis Hunter, but would you rather have Travis Hunter or 2 first-round draft picks and 2 second-round draft picks? I would take that option. Before we check out the rest of today's mailbag, quick shout out to our friends over at GameTime. GameTime is an awesome feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. What GameTime Picks does is it filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. If you want to go catch an Avs game or a Nuggets game, go visit GameTime right now, download the app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. I like to look at it as, hey, Game Time's going to take care of your first concession run. You're going to go to the game, and your first run to get a hot dog, a beer, or something like that is covered by Game Time with that $20 savings. Terms apply, but once more, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The police. Matthew, do you feel like Denver should pick a running back or a tight end so Denver can build around Bo Nix? Let's just say Ashton Jeanty and Tyler Warren are both available at 20. And the question is, if you have your pick of the litter, who are you taking? Me personally, I'd go Ashton Jeanty from the way I would construct a roster. Sean Payton has always had good tight ends in his offense. He's always valued tight ends. He's always used the running back as a committee backfield. So he may not feel like using the 20th overall pick is a good use on a bell cow back when that's not the way he operates with his running backs. That could change with a guy like Ashton Jeanty, who he's never had. Right? Once you get Alvin Kamara, after his first few seasons, like he pretty much became the bell cow back. And they stopped splitting carries between him and Mark Ingram. So that could change for Jeanty because he's someone worth changing for. So I would take Jeanty because I think that the popular opinion in football is don't pay a running back, don't draft a running back. The Eagles just told you we can do when you pay a running back. Yes, if you have Patrick Mahomes, you don't have to pay a running back. Newsflash, 31 teams do not have Patrick Mahomes, so they should be paying a running back. I would go running back, but I think Sean Payton would prefer a tight end. I think that would fit his offense better, and it would be a bigger missing piece to their offense. Hubert, next one up. What do you think of Darius Slayton? I think Slayton can be a solid wide receiver 3 for a team, and if the Broncos want to bring on a more veteran receiver, that's not a bad option. I don't think he should be the prize pig or the number one sought-after receiver free agent target for the Broncos. We can look at the Broncos receiver room here in a moment, and you're going to be bringing back pretty much everyone. Sutton, Vele, Mims, Troy Franklin. I don't see Denver looking at free agency to improve this receiver room. Like, to take over as a new receiver too. I think they like what they got out of Marvin Mims at the end of last year. So why pay someone a lot of money to then take Marvin Mims' snaps? You invested a second-round pick in Mims. You're finally starting to get your return on that investment. Why go buy another business that's going to cannibalize your other business? You know what I mean? If you bought a donut shop and the first year it was not making a lot of money, but then it's starting to become a bit of a cash factory, why go buy a restaurant right next door to that donut shop and take customers away from that? I know it's a really weird Colin Cowherd analogy, but when you look at receivers and you want to talk about adding another one, always ask yourself, if you add this receiver, what is he bringing to the receiver room that you don't already have? Are you looking for speed? Are you looking for size? Kind of a possession guy or more of a joker / gadget player? I would be hard-pressed to find someone in free agency worth giving up a big contract to take away snaps from a young, cheap ascending Marvin Mims. So, there we go, Hubert. There's your answer. CPJ, do you think that getting a defensive tackle like Walker and Nolen would boost our defense to another level? Then next to Allen for years to come would terrorize the AFC West. Look at the Chiefs. What is the foundation of their defense? It's Chris Jones from the interior. They've rotated some guys around him to his left and to his right, and they even tried him off on the edge, but he's better on the interior. It would be tough to pass on if you think one of these guys, say Walter Nolen here, is going to be not Chris Jones level, but Chris Jones was a second-round draft pick, so you don't need to have a top 10 pick to get one of the best interior defensive tackles in football. If you think Nolen could be even just 90% or 85% of Chris Jones, you've got that with Cooper and Benito and Zach Allen. That might be a front four that just, you don't have to invest a ton offensively. They're going to bring you all the way to the AFC Championship game. I think it could be that good of a front four. Just like how the Eagles, their pass rush and their defensive line, they didn't skip a beat when they transitioned from the old guys like Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham to the new guys, Jalen Carter, the other Georgia Bulldogs they got, Jordan Davis, thank you. And look where they are right now. CPJ, I'd be very interested in a defensive tackle at 20. Broncos prods, what do you think of the Broncos picking up Chris Godwin? I like Chris Godwin as a player. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't believe the Broncos are going to spend big in free agency at wide receiver. I think they like the early returns on their previous draft class from Devon Vele and Troy Franklin. The ascension they got from Marvin Mims. Probably the best year from Courtland Sutton. My guess is, while they will add to the receiver room, it won't be to the level of we're going to make the biggest payment to a receiver this offseason. I suspect they will go with smaller, more precision options rather than one big splash. Broncos Prods, thank you for your super chat and your question. To wrap up today's mailbag, it is about a week and change away, not even. Who you got? Eagles, Chiefs. Let me know in the comment section below. We're all pulling for the Eagles here, but not who do you want, who do you think?